What's happening around the world and what's happening here at home? A very good evening to and welcome to Weekend Primetime News. I'm Sandro Ferdinando and here are your headlines for tonight.
3-day period granted by the police to inform about illegal explosive material to the nearest police station. President says he's ready to enact the law against anyone responsible for the terror attacks. Army Commander Lieutenant General Mahesh Senanayake says the country does not need a counter-terrorism act but needs to strengthen existing acts through amendments. Varying views about the discovery of swords.
විශේෂයෙන්ම අපි කියනවා මුස්ලිම් පින්වතුන්ට ඔබේ ජනනායකයන් කියන්නේ මුසාවාද ඔබේ ජනනායකයෝ මේ රටේ නීතිය විහිළුවට යොමු කරමින් ඉන්නවා.
First up in local news, Sri Lanka Navy opened fire at 2 vehicles which fled, disobeying the orders of the Navy officers to stop at a security checkpoint in Hunupitiya, Wattala. One of the drivers died in the shooting.
The Navy engaged in inspections last night by setting up a checkpoint near the Hunupitiya flyover in Wattala. The Navy opened fire at a nano vehicle travelling from Kiribatkura to Wattala that disobeyed the orders of the Navy officers at the checkpoint. The shooting took place at around 12 last night.
This vehicle attempted to escape by running down a Navy officer. At this point, another Navy officer on duty had opened fire in order to control the situation. The driver of the vehicle was injured and was admitted to the hospital. The driver had later succumbed to his injuries. Preliminary investigations revealed that the driver was under the influence of alcohol.
The deceased has been identified as Chamara Sanka, a 34-year-old father of 2 and a resident of Wattala. His eldest daughter is 3 years old, while his youngest son is a 3-month-old baby. Meanwhile, Navy officers opened fire at another vehicle that disobeyed their orders at around 1 a.m. this morning. While the vehicle was damaged, the driver of the vehicle did not sustain any injuries. Police stated that investigations revealed that the driver, who was a lawyer by profession, was also under the influence of alcohol.
Security forces have set up checkpoints and deployed a number of security officers across the country for the security of the general public. The general public has a duty to provide their maximum support to the security forces to carry out their duties without any hindrances. So I request the general public to not act in such a manner that will obstruct the duties of the security forces. When attempting to run down officers while under the influence of alcohol, you are obstructing us. You are doing wrong to your country.
Although schools reopened for students from grade 6 and above last Monday, only 10% of students attended school over the week. Many individuals voiced their pleasure concerning the reopening of schools in the face of the prevailing situation.
According to a statement released by the Ministry of Education, the second term for students from grade 1 to 5 will begin next Monday. However, a decision is yet to be taken regarding the date of the reopening of Catholic schools.
We are hoping to reopen the schools on Tuesday, the 14th of May. The decision will be taken based on the assessment made on the prevailing situation. If the situation is not favourable, we will reopen the schools only after Vesak, because we can't let anything harm our children.
Against such a backdrop, schools will be reopening for all grades this Monday. The People's Movement to Protect Schools convened a media briefing to discuss this situation.
Right now, search operations are being carried out island-wide to take weapons into custody of the security forces. In such a situation, how can we ask the parents to trust that security has been ensured? The children and the relatives of high-ranking individuals in this country study in these leading schools. Those children haven't attended school. Now we all know the Defence College. The attendance at the Defence College is very low. That is where children of the security forces study. What does this show? Don't the people of this country read this? Don't they discuss this? Don't they make decisions? The leader of this country have a responsibility. Practically prove that the security in this country has been ensured. Do it with your own lives. Then the people of this country will believe you.
තහවුරු කළ බව ප්‍රායෝගිකව ඔප්පු කරන්න. ඔවුන්ගේ ජීවිතවලින්. එතකොට මේ රටේ ජනතාව විශ්වාස කරයි.
බුද්ධ්‍යංශය විසින් නිවේදනයක්.
Intelligence units have informed our security forces about an attack that is expected to happen on the 13th. You should think again if it is fair to take 4 million children who are the future of the country onto the roads. We cannot keep the schools closed forever. We admit that. A statement should be made to the general public about the reports of the heads of the security forces. This statement should not be made by politicians. Children are not bulletproof. They will provide us with bulletproof vehicles. We can at least take cover behind that.
වාහනයක් දෙයි. ඒ බුලට් ප්‍රූෆ් එකට මුවා වෙන්න පුළුවන්.
මේ වගේ සිද්ධියක් වුණාට පස්සේ
When a situation like this happens, you can't keep the schools closed forever. The schools were reopened. Some are disappointed because schools are closed from grade 1 to grade 5. We believe that the attendance will be better in the upper grades by next week. The opposition should show their support.
සඳහා සහාය දෙන්න අවශ්‍යයි.
ඉස්කෝල ගාව ඉන්නේ කවුද?
Who usually stay around the school, mostly women. The men go to work. The mothers stand and guard the schools. I asked someone what they would do if a person wearing a suicide vest comes towards the school. They said they will scream and run. Both of my children did not attend school today. One of them attends Vishaka Vidyalaya and the other attends Royal College. The Minister of Education says that only stupid children would not attend school. But his children also didn't attend school, since his child is small. He did not reopen schools for students from the 1st grade to the 5th. He did not reopen schools for the students who are his child's age. But for others, he did.
තමන්ගේ ළමයා ඉන්න පන්තිය කල් දාගෙන අනිත් දරුවන්ගේ පන්තිය ඇරියේ.
මෙහෙයුම් සිදු කරමින්
I state that most of the individuals involved in terrorist activities have been taken into custody, and search operations will continue to be carried out to take individuals who can be involved in destructive activities with explosives and weapons. The security forces and the police will not rest until they completely uproot terrorism and ensure the security of the general public. I ask the general public to trust security forces and continue with their day-to-day activities. I also ensure that security has been provided to all schools and places of worship.
ස්ථානවල අවශ්‍ය පරිදි ආරක්ෂාව යොදා ඇති බව තහවුරු කරමි.
Police has taken steps to announce a 3-day period to inform and hand over all illegal explosive material to the nearest police station.
බලපත්‍රයක් රහිතව එසේත්
We have given the opportunity to anyone who has in their possession any amount of explosive material with no valid permit to hand them over to the nearest police station. So if any individual possesses any illegal explosives without a permit, you should first inform this to the OIC of your nearest police station. It can also be done through the relevant police committee officers. Once that has been done, steps will be taken to seize the amount of explosives. The time period to hand over explosives in this manner began from 6 a.m. today to 6 p.m. on the 14th.
14 වෙනි දින පෙරවරු 6 දක්වා මෙම කාල සීමාව තිබෙනවා.
Police said the materials which are identified as explosives include gunpowder, gelatinite, dynamite, detonators and other explosive substances. Meanwhile, court ordered to release Kadiragaman Thambirasa Kumar, alias Ajantan, who was accused of murdering 2 police officers at a roadblock in Vaunathu in November last year.
නිලධාරීන් දෙදෙනා ඝාතනය කිරීම සම්බන්ධයෙන් තවත් සැකකරු
The CID was able to arrest another group of suspects on the murder of 2 police officers. The arrested suspects include the driver of Mohammad Zaharan of the terror group. On that note, Rahasa Kumar, who was detained by the CID, was released today after being produced before the Batticaloa Magistrates Court.
ගරු මහේස්ත්‍රාත් අධිකරණය වෙත ඉදිරිපත් කරලා ඉන් අනතුරුව ඔහුව උදා හැරීමට අපරාධ පරීක්ෂණ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව කටයුතු කළා.
Kadiragaman Thambirasa Kumar, who was released, returned to his family today and later spoke to Newsfirst. After the person responsible for this was identified following the terror attacks, the president had ordered that my DO be dismissed. They have now released me. I'm thankful for that. My wife and my family faced a lot of problems during the last 5 months. I thank everyone who helped us during these months. While Kumar is being released in this manner, the nation questions about the release of employees at the copper factory in Vellampitiya, where the bombs used for the April 21st attacks were produced. Police media spokesperson said that a special investigation is being carried out by the Special Investigations Division at the police headquarters. He added that if the release was a result of a defect by the authorities, relevant legal actions will be taken against them.
Here are the views expressed by parents who lost their children in the April 21st terror attacks at the St. Anthony's Shrine in Kochikade.
19-year-old Imash Tivanka Sirimana and 22-year-old Meda Satsarni Sirimana were at the St. Anthony's Shrine in Kochikade to attend the Easter Sunday Mass when the terror attack struck.
අපි ගෙවල් වල ඉතින් දැන් අර ඇවිදින මලමිනි වගේ ඔහි උඩ බලාගත්ත ගම බඩගින්නක් එන්නේ බලාපොරොත්තුත් ඔක්කොම සුන් බලාපොරොත්තු ඔක්කොම ඉවරයි වෙන මොනවත් නැහැ මං හිතන්නේ අපව පාලනය කරන මිනිසුන්ට ඒක එච්චර ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැතුව ඇති අපේ ළමයින්ගේ මලමිනි උඩින් ඒගොල්ලෝ බලේ හොයාගෙන යනවා මේ දවස්වල ප්‍රවෘත්ති පත්තර බලපුවා මට හැඟෙන්නේ නැහැ එහෙම මේකට බැහැලා මේක මෙතනින් ඉවර කරනවා කියලා කවුරු හරි අපේ ළමයින්ගේ මරණ වලට සාධාරණයක් ඉෂ්ට වෙයි කියලා මට තවම හැඟිලා නැහැ.
මට අන්තිමට මගේ තනිවට හිටපුම දරුවෝ දෙන්නෙක් නෙමෙයි. යාළුවෝ දෙන්නෙක් වගේ. එක වෙලාවකට මගේ පුතා මට තාත්තා කෙනෙක් වගේ. සහෝදරයෙක් වගේ. මගේ හැමදේම කියන්නේ මං එයාට. ඒ තරම් හොඳයි.
What we just witnessed were the views expressed by those who fell victim to the terror attacks on the 21st of April. It is quite questionable if the public representatives are sensitive enough to understand the pain of the general public because of certain statements they make. Statements made by MPs and ministers about the discovery of swords during the continuous search operations carried out by the security forces. Here are some of the views expressed in this regard.
Why have they kept 20 to 30 swords in mosques? Why were they brought? Was this investigated? I have not seen a single Muslim MP voicing their objection against this.
There are around 5.2 million houses in the country. If you find one sword from each house, it will all sum up to 5.2 million swords. So if a house with one child has a sword, a family with 3 to 4 children will ask for a pistol. Meanwhile, Venerable Omal P. Sobitha convened a media briefing.
When the entire country is afraid of what has happened, it is normal to attempt to understand if the Muslim MPs are speaking the truth or not. Swords are not being used to cut shrubs. Keeping swords for protection of women in houses is also a lie. Isn't it the government that is humiliated by these statements? Let's say they keep a sword or two at a house for protection, but they discovered hundreds of swords from just one place. We request the Muslim leaders to please accept this and apologize to the nation. I also ask the Muslims to act in an honest manner and clear these suspicions and misunderstandings, because this is not done at the moment. Your leaders are deceiving you. They are humiliating the entire country.
මුසාවාද ඔබේ ජනනායකයෝ මේ රටේ නීතිය විහිළුවට යොමු කරමින් ඉන්නවා.
Commander of the Sri Lanka Army, Lieutenant General Mahesh Senanayake, spoke about the proposed counter-terrorism act with Newsfirst today.
There was an act that we adhered to during the 30-year war. That was adequate for us to be victorious. In the face of these threats, amending and adding certain provisions to the act is sufficient. I personally believe that there is no need for us to bring in a new act. In my personal opinion, I believe that this is an act that can be strengthened. Legal experts are looking into this matter. We also have to contribute the information we gathered. We have also forwarded our suggestions and ideas. This will strengthen the current act and not give the opportunity for people to bring forward acts that would benefit them. Our problems should be solved by us.
Now, the proposed counter-terrorism act, which the ruling party, including the Prime Minister, is striving to obtain parliamentary approval, has been criticized by several groups of individuals. The following are views expressed in this regard.
If the government headed by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe is attempting to use such a situation to bring forward repressive acts in the name of terrorism, we will not permit this. There is no point in the government complaining after allowing extremist groups to grow and after such extremist groups use weapons more powerful than those used by local forces who refrain from using their own powers and weapons. They cannot escape saying the law that was in place was not sufficient. It has been more than 10 days since they announced that the National Tawheed Jamaat organization and the Jamaatul Milate Ibrahim organization will be banned. However, until date, these organizations have not been banned. Now the biggest joke will be if the leader of the ISIS, Abu Bakr, arrives at the Katunaika International Airport. Even Abu Bakr cannot be arrested in Sri Lanka as the ISIS organization is not banned in our country. Before struggling to bring forward the Counter-Terrorism Act and provide a relief package to terrorists, these organizations must be banned through the prevailing laws in the country. If this alleged TV channel owned by Minister Rishad Bathiuddin named UTV is creating fake news and misinterpreting the operations carried out by security forces, then under the emergency regulations as well as the Prevention of Terrorism Act, this television channel should be banned. However, instead of banning such media channels that have connections to terrorist activities, what does the President and Prime Minister of this country do? They control media channels such as Hiru TV, Dharana TV or Sirasa TV that are watched by the majority of Sri Lankans.
The people of this country question the bailing out of suspects who were arrested. Here are some of the views expressed in this regard.
The officials release those who are not directly involved in these on a temporary basis. They will be arrested again if needed. So we are satisfied for now. We now know that there is criticism in the society where certain names of MPs are given requests to arrest them. Government has the responsibility to inquire these names and give accurate information, but the government has not taken any action yet. We are of the stance that whoever is responsible for these should be arrested regardless of the position they hold, especially if they are directly involved. There are no investigations yet.
President Maithripala Sirisena, addressing an event in Ampara, spoke about the current situation of the country.
These terrorists attacked us on the 21st of April. They even attacked the European countries. They carried out attacks in Russia, America, Canada, Australia, Indonesia, India and several other countries. But when terrorists attack these countries and kill people, none of these countries ask the leader of the country to resign and leave. I will not take a step back due to these terror activities. I will not be afraid. I will not go home. I will bring this to an end by attacking them. I will take legal action against those who are responsible for the April 21st attacks. I appointed a committee comprising of Supreme Court judges to find out who neglected their responsibilities. They have handed over 2 interim reports. They will present their final report next week. I will take legal action against everyone accountable. They should take the responsibility of these lost lives. Unfortunately, there is also a crowd who likes it when bombs explode in the country. They are political opportunists and hypocrites. So let's all get together and work on this.
The head of the state made these remarks while attending the final progress review meeting of the Ampara district Ratawenuwen Ekata Sitimu or Let's Stand Together for the Country program. The main objective of the program is to provide swift and sustainable solutions for issues faced by the people. 92 million rupees has been spent on these developments and service projects with more than 450,000 beneficiary families.
A Maulavi wanted by the security forces was arrested at the Bandar Naik International Airport on his arrival to the island. The suspect, who was providing lectures at Islamic places of worship, has been remanded until the 14th of this month. Police said he was wanted for releasing videos in a manner that harms reconciliation in the country.
It is unclear how...
In more local news, following are the views expressed by the Deputy Leader of the United National Party, Minister Sajith Premadasa, in Baduruagala today.
The need for the nation is not to point the finger at anyone. We all should point the finger at us. We are all responsible for these actions. The country was never benefited by pointing fingers at each other. None of us can escape from being responsible for what has happened. While taking up responsibility, we should learn a good lesson from these international terror attacks the nation faced.
Minister expressed these views at an event to lay the foundation stone for a centre constructed to promote tourism centering the historical Buduruvagala temple. The facility is to be built on aid by the Central Cultural Fund. The minister also paid a compensation of 11.6 million rupees to 271 farmers who were affected by the Sena caterpillar menace. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe engaged in a tour around Hatton today. The Prime Minister engaged in religious observances at the Sri Saman Mahakovil in Mausakale. The Premier then visited the Nallantanni, where he participated at a trade union meeting in the area. We have been discussing that the tourism industry should not only be limited to Nuwara but be expanded to places like this. Therefore, attention has been drawn to Nallantanni. One part of this area will be designated as a holy city. That is important. On the other hand, this town will be developed. Bogowan Thalava, Nallantanni, Maskaliya and Horton Bridge will be connected. We can then build 2 tourist zones in Nuwara, and from there it will be developed further. While the political arena is filled with debates over the latest developments, the daily struggle of the general public never seems to end. Adding to the burden of the general public, the government increased prices of fuel with effect from midnight yesterday.
Following the revision of the fuel price formula, the government took steps to increase the price of fuel with effect from midnight yesterday. Accordingly, 92-octane petrol was increased by 3 rupees, 95-octane petrol by 5 rupees and super diesel by 2 rupees. However, the price of auto diesel remains unchanged. Meanwhile, Lanka IOC also increased their fuel prices with effect from midnight last night. Accordingly, 92-octane petrol has been increased by 3 rupees, 95-octane by 5 rupees and super diesel by 2 rupees. However, the international price data shows that crude oil prices have fallen since the mid of April. Against such a backdrop, the Consumer Protection Organization points out that the increase in fuel price is unreasonable. There is a reason for everything. Likewise, the reason for the increase in fuel price is the 225 MPs in Parliament. It is the general public that maintains the 225 MPs in Parliament. The cost to maintain these 225 MPs is approximately 700 million rupees per month. The government has imposed tax on onions, dal, potatoes and even rice. In terms of fuel prices, it is the tax component that acts as the predominant element. Therefore, we urge the public to be wise and think twice before voting in the upcoming election.
While the country is facing difficulties because of the increase in oil prices, our segment, The Voice of the People, draws your attention to a village that is affected by the human-elephant conflict.
Voice of the People.
At once, an elephant came and destroyed this wall. We were sleeping here. We ran off immediately. Then my uncle also came running. That was when we ran away from this place. We slept inside the tractor that night. We then went to our grandmother's place on my uncle's bike. All of my pens and pencils were buried inside these bricks. 12-year-old Ayesha Samanmali, a local from Vallavaya, Maharagama, shared her grievances with Newsfirst as her house was destroyed by wild elephants. Just as Ayesha grieves over her destroyed home, locals, including children of this village, constantly live in fear of wild elephant attacks. A local we met at Maharagama is the perfect testimony in this regard.
All I remember is that the elephant grabbed me, lifted me and dashed me on the ground and stepped on my foot. I don't remember what happened afterwards. My eye has been removed. The wild elephant-human conflict has been a major issue in Sri Lanka for more than 20 years. These are the struggles and difficulties the farmers of Maharagama go through on a daily basis. They cannot sleep in comfort. If they do, their children will remain in hunger the following day. The locals of Vellavaya stay awake to protect their crops as they have no other option.
Vellavaya Mahara Janatawa මේ විදියට පැල් රකින්නේ වෙනත් කළ යුතු දෙයක් නොමැති නිසා.
This village is located between the Yala and Udawalawe forest reserves. As a result, this village is constantly affected by wild elephant attacks. The forest is situated 20 kilometers away from the village. This is where the wild elephants come from. There is no particular time or trend. There are elephants on our roads even at 9 a.m. Sometimes when children go to school in the morning, elephants chase them. They are living with such difficulties.
Elephants came and destroyed this wall. I took my child and wife and ran away. They destroyed our house and coconut trees. We have been living with this issue for the past 20 years.
This is the manner in which wild elephants have destroyed the cultivations in this village.
Voice of the people. The International Monetary Fund says it will consider a request made by Sri Lanka to extend the fund facility until 2020.
Deeply saddened by the horrific attacks in Sri Lanka, and we have offered our condolences to the authorities and to the people who have been so badly affected there. On the substance of IMF help, we have a program there with Sri Lanka that's ongoing, and indeed next week our executive board will consider the request from the authorities to complete the review of the fifth review under our program, and indeed, and I think this is the important issue, to extend that program by one additional year, which would mean until June 2020. And that extension, again, to be approved by our board, discussed and approved. That extension will provide additional time to the authorities to anchor macroeconomic stability and complete their reform agenda.
Facebook concedes that its systems are not perfect, but says they are improving as the social media company struggles to stay ahead of a growing array of criticism over extremist content.
Facebook has been accused of auto-generating extremist content, including celebratory jihadist video and a business page for Al-Qaeda. The material was uncovered by an anonymous whistleblower who filed an official complaint to US regulators. National Whistleblower Center, based in Washington, D.C., conducted a study which lasted 5 months and monitored pages of 3,000 people who liked or connected to organizations listed as terrorist groups by the US government. The study found that groups such as the Islamic State Group and Al-Qaeda were openly active on the social network.
In more international news, officials confirmed that several gunmen have stormed a 5-star hotel in the restive Pakistani province of Balochistan.
Firing was reported around the Pearl Continental Hotel in the port city of Godha, the focal point of a multi-million-dollar Chinese project. Officials say most guests at the hotel, popular among foreign tourists and business people, have been evacuated. At least 3 armed men stormed the hotel at around 1650 local time. It is unclear how many people were inside the hotel, but officials said the majority of guests had been evacuated.
It is reported that arrangements have been made to conduct an emergency general meeting of Sri Lanka cricket in contrary to its constitution. According to the constitution of Sri Lanka cricket, if a general meeting is called to take place, this should be notified to all clubs that are under Sri Lanka cricket 14 days prior to its general meeting. Likewise, the Sri Lanka cricket constitution states that SLC must ensure that its audit report should be shared with their relevant clubs prior to the general meeting. However, tomorrow's general meeting has been called in violation to several issues which are in the constitution. Furthermore, SLC has forwarded a letter to the Minister of Sports requesting permission to hold the general meeting. However, the Sports Minister has not yet responded to this. A number of questions have been raised within the cricket clubs under SLC as to why the officials are pressing to hold an emergency general meeting. And that's all the news for tonight. Do take care and good night.